in a grocery store screaming for candy. The child does not understand nutrition, budgets, or long-term health. The child just knows it wants something sweet right now. Your feelings are that child, and you've been giving it every single time. When you let your feelings make decisions, you are essentially letting the most immature, short-sighted part of yourself run your entire life. Would you let a 5-year-old make your financial decisions? Would you let a toddler plan your career? Of course not. But that is exactly what you are doing when you let your emotions call the shots. The future you are trying to build requires sacrifice today. It requires you to do things that do not feel good in the moment. It requires you to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. And your feelings hate that. They will fight you every step of the way because they cannot see past the next 5 minutes. So you have got to understand this fundamental truth. Your feelings are not equipped to lead you to your destiny. They are not designed for that. They are designed to keep you safe and comfortable, and safe and comfortable will never get you to extraordinary. If you want a different life, you have got to stop consulting your feelings about every decision and start consulting your vision. Stop saying, I am angry or I am depressed. No, you feel angry, you feel depressed. There is a huge difference. When you say I am, you are identifying yourself with that emotion. You are giving it power. You are making it who you are. But you are not your feelings. You are the person experiencing those feelings. And that means you have the power to observe them, acknowledge them, and then choose what you do next. This is not just semantics. This is not just playing with words. This is about understanding the fundamental nature of who you are. You are not a collection of temporary emotional states. You are a conscious being who has emotions, experiences them, and then gets to decide what those emotions mean and what you will do about them. When you say, I am sad, you have become the sadness. There is no separation. There is no space for you to make a different choice. But when you say, I feel sad, you have created distance. You have created perspective. Now there is you, and there is the feeling you are experiencing. Now you have options. Think about watching clouds in the sky. The clouds come and they go. Sometimes they are dark and stormy. Sometimes they are light and fluffy. But the sky remains the sky. The sky does not become the clouds. The sky is the space in which the clouds appear and disappear. You are the sky. Your emotions are the clouds. Most people have fused their identity with their emotional weather patterns. They wake up feeling anxious and decide that is who they are that day. They feel rejected and believe they are unlovable. They feel like a failure and conclude that they are a failure. But feelings are not facts. Feelings are just information, and often that information is unreliable. When you separate yourself from your emotions, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of your internal weather. You become the observer, the decision maker, the one in charge. The emotion can be present, but it does not define you. It does not get to write your story. It does not get to determine your actions. Start practicing this separation today. When an emotion comes up, name it. Say it out loud if you have to. I am feeling frustrated right now. I am noticing anxiety in my body. I am experiencing disappointment. See the difference. You are here, the emotion is there, and you get to decide what happens next. Let me ask you something. How many times have you made a decision when you were angry and regretted it later? How many times have you been scared and let fear talk you out of something great? How many times has sadness convinced you to stay in bed instead of going after what you want? Your emotions have one job: to be felt. They do not have the credentials to make your decisions. Stop promoting your feelings to a position they are not qualified for. Think about the worst decisions you have ever made. I will bet you money that most of them were made when you were emotional. You were hurt, so you lashed out. You were afraid, so you quit. You were excited, so you jumped into something without thinking. You were lonely, so you went back to someone you knew was wrong for you. Emotions are reactive. They are chemical responses in your body designed to alert you to something. Fear alerts you to potential danger. Anger alerts you to a boundary violation. Sadness alerts you to loss. These are useful signals, but they are terrible leaders. They give you information, but they should never be making your decisions. Here is what happens when emotions make your decisions. You sent that text you should not have sent. You quit the job before you have another one lined up. You blow up at someone you care about. You make a purchase you cannot afford. You ghost someone instead of having a conversation. You stay in situations that are killing you because leaving feels too hard. Every time you let an emotion make a decision, you are essentially letting the most impulsive part of you drive the car. And that part of you does not care about consequences. It does not care about tomorrow. It just wants relief from the discomfort it is feeling right now, and it will do anything to get it. Successful people feel the same emotions you feel. They feel fear, doubt, frustration, anxiety, all of it. The difference is that they do not let those emotions make their decisions. They feel the fear and do the thing anyway. They feel the doubt and keep moving forward. They feel the frustration and stay committed. You need a decision-making process that is separate from your emotional state. You need values, principles, and goals that guide you regardless of how you feel in the moment. When you are emotional, that is the worst time to make a major decision. That is the time to pause, to breathe, to wait until you can think clearly. You have about 5 seconds between feeling something and acting on it. That is your window. That is your power moment. In those 5 seconds, you can catch yourself. You can pause. You can say, wait a minute, I am feeling some type of way right now, but I am not going to let this feeling make my next move. 5 seconds is all you need to take back control. This is not a theory. This is neuroscience. When an emotional impulse hits you, you have a very small window before your brain starts creating momentum around that impulse. If you do not interrupt the pattern in those first few seconds, the emotion builds energy and becomes much harder to manage. Think about the last time someone said something that made you angry. You felt that surge of heat in your chest, that tightness in your jaw, that urge to snap back at them. In that moment, you had about 5 seconds to interrupt that pattern. 5 seconds to take a breath, 5 seconds to step back, 5 seconds to choose a different response. But most people do not use those 5 seconds. They react immediately. They let the emotion take over and drive their behavior. And then 5 minutes later, 5 hours later, 5 days later, they are dealing with the consequences of a reaction they wish they could take back. Those 5 seconds are where your freedom lies. That is the gap between stimulus and response. That is where you exercise your power as a human being. Animals do not have that gap. They react on instinct. But you are not an animal. You can pause to think, to choose. Start practicing this today. When you feel a strong emotion, do not do anything else. Just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that space, you create options. You break the automatic pattern. You give your rational mind a chance to catch up with your emotional mind. This works for everything. You feel like quitting, count to 5. You feel like sending that angry email, count to 5. You feel like eating the whole pan of ice cream, count to 5. You feel like staying in bed instead of going to the gym, count to 5. In that pause, you remember who you are and where you are going. In that pause, you take back control. You are waiting to feel like doing it. You are waiting to feel motivated. You are waiting to feel ready. Listen to me. You will never feel like doing the hard stuff. Never. Successful people do not feel like getting up at 5 in the morning. They do not feel like going to the gym. They do not feel like making those calls or doing that extra work. But they do it anyway. That is called discipline. And discipline does not ask your feelings for permission. Motivation is a feeling, and like all feelings, it comes and goes. It is unreliable. It is fickle. It shows up when it wants to and disappears right when you need it most. If you are building your life on motivation, you are building on sand. The first storm that comes will wash the whole thing away. Discipline different. Discipline is not a feeling. Discipline is a decision you make regardless of how you feel. Discipline says, I committed to this, so I am doing it. Period. No negotiation. no debate with yourself, no checking in with your feelings to see if they approve. You decided, so you do it. Think about brushing your teeth. You do not wait until you feel motivated to brush your teeth. You do not wake up some days and think, I just do not feel like it today, maybe tomorrow. You just do it because it is what you do. That is discipline. That is routine. That is the kind of automatic commitment you need to apply to everything that matters in your life. The people you admire, the ones who have built something real, are not more motivated than you. They just have more discipline. They have trained themselves to do what needs to be done regardless of how they feel about it. They have removed feelings from the equation entirely when it comes to their non-negotiables. You want to know why you are not where you want to be. It is because you have made your progress dependent on your feelings. You work out when you feel like it. You work on your business when inspiration strikes. You eat healthy when you are motivated. And because feelings are unreliable, your results are unreliable. What if you just decided right now that certain things are going to happen regardless of how you feel? What if you committed to actions that are not up for debate? What if you stopped asking yourself if you feel like it and just did it because it is who you are and what you do? That is when everything changes. That is when you become unstoppable. Most of your emotional reactions are not even about what is happening right now. They are about what happened to you 10, 20, or 30 years ago. You are responding to today's opportunities with yesterday's fears. You are making today's decisions based on old pain. That is like trying to drive forward while only looking in the rearview mirror. You have got to recognize that just because you feel a certain way does not mean that feeling is giving you accurate information about your current situation. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to make you happy. It catalogs every painful experience you have ever had and stores it in your emotional memory bank. Then, when something in your present even remotely resembles something from your past, your brain sounds the alarm and floods you with the same emotions you felt back then. So you are 35 years old, getting ready to give a presentation at work, and you feel overwhelming anxiety. But that anxiety is not really about this presentation. It is about being caught on in third grade and forgetting your answer while everyone laughed. Your brain cannot tell the difference. It just knows presentation equals danger, so it hits you with fear. You meet someone amazing who treats you well, but you feel anxious and want to push them away. That is not about them. That is about the person who broke your heart 10 years ago. Your emotional system is trying to protect you from old pain by sabotaging new possibilities. It cannot distinguish between then and now. It just knows connection equals potential hurt. This is why you can feel terrified of things that are not actually dangerous. Your emotional responses were programmed in a different time, under different circumstances, by a different version of you. But those programs are still running, still influencing how you feel and react today. The problem is we trust these feelings as if they are giving us accurate, real-time information. We feel afraid and assume there must be something to be afraid of right now. We feel unworthy and believe that must be true. We feel like we are going to fail and take that as evidence that we will. But these feelings are often just old recordings playing on repeat. You have got to learn to question your feelings. When a strong emotion comes up, ask yourself, is this about now or is this about then? Am I responding to what is actually happening or am I responding to what happened before? Is this feeling giving me accurate information or is it an old wound getting triggered? When you start making this distinction, you stop being controlled by the past and you start living in the present. Your feelings want you to be comfortable. They want you safe. They want you in the same routine, around the same people, doing the same things that require nothing new from you. But let me tell you what comfort really is. It is a slow death. It is your potential dying one day at a time. Everything you want is on the other side of uncomfortable, and your feelings are going to scream at you to turn back. Do not listen. Comfort feels good, and that is the trap. It feels safe. It feels familiar. It does not challenge you or scare you or push you beyond what you already know you can handle. And because it feels good, we mistake it for the right place to be. But comfort is not growth. Comfort is stagnation dressed up as peace. Look at your life right now. Any area where you are stuck, any area where you are not progressing, I guarantee you have gotten too comfortable there. You are comfortable in a job that is beneath your potential. You are comfortable with those friends who do not challenge you to be better. You are comfortable in that relationship that stopped growing years ago. You are comfortable with habits that are slowly destroying you. Your feelings will defend your comfort zone like it is a fortress. They will give you every reason to stay. You will tell yourself you are being realistic, being grateful for what you have, and being smart by not taking unnecessary risks. But really, you are just being scared. You are choosing the familiar over the possible. You are choosing to feel comfortable today at the expense of everything you could become tomorrow. Every single person who has ever done anything significant got uncomfortable. They had to. Growth does not happen in your comfort zone. Success does not happen in your comfort zone. Transformation does not happen in your comfort zone. The person you want to become does not live in your comfort zone. They live on the other side of everything that scares you right now. And here is the thing about comfort. It is a moving target. What feels comfortable today will feel confining tomorrow. What feels safe right now will feel like a prison eventually, because you were not designed to stay the same. You were designed to grow, to evolve, to expand. And when you resist that by clinging to comfort, you create internal conflict that manifests as dissatisfaction, restlessness, and that nagging feeling that you are meant for more. So when your feelings start pulling you back toward comfort, recognize it for what it is. It is not wisdom. It is not self-care. It is fear disguised as common sense. It is your primitive brain trying to keep you in the cave because the cave is familiar. But your dreams are not in the cave. Your purpose is not in the cave. Everything you are meant to become requires you to walk out of that cave and into the unknown. And it is going to feel uncomfortable every step of the way. You would not let just anybody walk into your house, would you? So why are you letting every feeling that pops up control your whole day? You need emotional boundaries. Just because you feel rejected does not mean you are rejected. Just because you feel like a failure does not mean you are a failure. You have got to stop letting every emotion that knocks on your door move in and rearrange your furniture. Emotional boundaries are about understanding that you get to decide which feelings you give your attention to and which ones you acknowledge and let pass. Not every emotion deserves your engagement. Not every feeling needs to be analyzed, validated, and acted upon. Some emotions are just passing through and you need to let them. Think about your mind like a house. Throughout the day, all kinds of emotions show up at your door. Anxiety knocks. Doubt rings the bell. Fear bangs on the window. Anger pounds on the